Here we go. Welcome to the Kellie Kitchen. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to wait here for a couple of seconds until people start hopping on so you can see what we are going to make in the kitchen. Wow, I had a whirlwind weekend of lovely cooking, but also like I just feel like I had the whole weekend to myself. I got in so much sleep. I started working out again, and that was probably a lot of why I got such great sleep. I think on Friday night I got like 12 hours. Anyways, we are gonna jump right into food, health, and fun. And Johnny Bird, we are gonna be keto fabulous just for you. Hi. I am going to make one of my very, very, very first recipes. The first time I made this, which was, God, like 2 years ago, maybe even 2.5 years ago, it's called buffalo chicken cauliflower bake. It is on my website. And when I started, I was so proud of this recipe, and the picture is just awful, just does not do it justice. But nevertheless, it is a family favorite. So it's buffalo chicken cauliflower bake. I actually already have the cauliflower roasting in the oven because I wanted to sort of get that started. And you all know how I absolutely abhor chopping cauliflower. Now, the recipe on the website calls for you to steam it or to boil it. I just decided to mix things up a little bit. I kind of wanted the cauliflower to be a little bit drier. So it's in the oven, 350 for like half an hour. And it doesn't have to be warm. You can do that well in advance and just have it already made. So I have like 6 cups of cauliflower florets with a tiny bit of olive oil, some salt and pepper. I just kind of toss that and I put it in a big roasting pan. I'll show you when it comes out. So we're going to do that. I made my rotisserie chicken, my Instant Pot rotisserie chicken last night when we were watching, our Sunday night show. I just kind of threw it into the Instant Pot and got that done. So I'll show you what that looks like. And on Friday night or on Friday afternoon, I had sort of like a hankering for a chocolate almond tart. I'd never made one before, but I kind of had an idea of what I was going to do. So we are going to make that chocolate almond tart for you guys to see how easy it is to make. And then I'm just going to do a very simple arugula lemon salad. It's just Piper and I having dinner tonight. And so I'll only make a little bit of salad because that doesn't batch cook well at all. I can never make salad in advance, even if I don't put dressing on it. It's just not good for me. But the cauliflower bake will be for dinner tonight and then lunch tomorrow and maybe even dinner tomorrow night. I did save some of my rotisserie chicken, so I will make some chicken salad with that maybe a little bit later tonight or tomorrow sometime. So we just have that in the fridge. So to get started, we're first going to start with the chocolate almond tart. And this is the pan that I use. It's just a removable bottom tart pan. There is nothing special about this. This is a 10-inch wide. I would suggest getting a nonstick, and there's a link on the website for that. But you can get them on Amazon. I think they're like $15. They're not a big deal. So we're going to use that. We're going to start with the crust, which it's very, you can use almond flour. You can use coconut flour instead of the psyllium husk because a lot of people don't really have psyllium husk around their kitchen. But I'll tell you a little funny story about this psyllium husk. So the base of this crust is just my regular almond flour and my sweetener, and I'll show you those in a second. But here's the other kind of funny thing. So this is psyllium husk, and you get this, I got this in CVS in like the constipation aisle, and you are supposed, you know, like a year or two ago when I was having my colon issues, the doctor was like, you need to have a lot of fiber in your diet. So she was like, put 2 tablespoons of this in a big glass of water and do that every day. Well, I did it like twice and I couldn't even choke it down. So it's sort of mealy, and I'm going to show you what this looks like. If you don't have psyllium husk, or if you cannot find it, you can use coconut flour. Coconut flour has that same sort of absorbent, dry texture that kind of holds the butter together. I'm microwaving a half a cup of, this is just a half a cup of butter. I've microwaved that. And then I'm going to put 1 1/4 cup of almond flour, and I'm going to show you a little trick about my my chocolate chips too that I use. So 1 1/4 cup of almond flour. Observation now. Yes, I know. Isn't that cute? Well, I am almost 50. I don't have a problem with that anymore. Okay, so I've got my almond flour. I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of my psyllium husk. And let me just show you what it looks like. Can you see? It's kind of like mealy. There isn't really a flavor to it. It's pretty dry. But anyways, I'm going to put 2 tablespoons of that in. And then it is a 1/4 cup of my sweetener. Now, you guys know how I love my Lakanto sweetener. This is a monk fruit erythritol blend. And for the crust, you can leave it granular. It just looks like real sugar. When we make the filling, we're going to grind this up in a like a coffee grinder just to make it powdered. You can buy it already powdered, but I prefer not to have so many, and I just prefer to powder what I have. But for the crust, we're just going to use 1/4 cup of my Lakanto sweetener, and then I'm going to use just a touch of my baking powder, because I want the crust to have a little bit of a rise, just a little bit of a puff, and not be so crumbly. So I'll use a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. And I like to, you know, even though I don't use a whole thing of this baking powder, when it gets towards the bottom, it starts to sort of cake together. And so I like to just get, I mean, they're so cheap. It's like $1 or maybe $2. So I just buy a new one, because when it starts to get clumpy, if you get a clump in a bite of something and you haven't sifted everything together, then it's very bitter. Okay, so I've got the baking powder, I've got the sweetener, I've got the butter, I've got the psyllium husk, and I've got the flour. So I'm gonna take a fork. I'm gonna whisk this all together, and this comes together just like kind of like a graham cracker crust. And you're gonna put this all together. And did I do? You know what? I only did a cup of the almond flour. It needs it's 1 1/4 cups of almond flour. So let me just do this one. I'm wondering why it was a little wet. So once I get this, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. It's a little bit crumbly, and we're going to press it into the bottom of the tart pan, and we're going to go all up the sides. And then what we'll do is, so here's what it looks like. See, it's a little crumbly. After we get it into the tart pan, we're going to poke holes all in the bottom of it so that it doesn't puff up too much. And before I do that, before I press this in, I'm going to wash my hands. I forgot to do that. I was touching onions before, and I don't want my chocolate tart to taste. That would be yucky. That would be yucky if it tasted like onions. Okay. So I'm just going to I don't know, it doesn't have to be so perfect, but I'm going to press the crust into all the way on the sides, and then I'll show you how I press it into the bottom of the tart pan. What's been going on this week? Well, we started the Whole Life Challenge. I know you guys are probably sick of me talking about it, but I just think it's a great way to kind of keep everybody honest and get everybody on track. I am actually, the nutrition part is not really my issue. My issue is committing to working out a little bit every day, committing to going to bed on time. Oh my God, drinking water. Like, it's not that I don't like the taste of water. I just never think of it. And I don't like to have to run to go pee all day. So, but I have to drink more water. So the Whole Life Challenge kind of forces you to do all these little things, you know, and you have to check in with your teammates. And we just started. We're on today is day 3. So I think everybody is doing a pretty good job. Hi everybody, thanks for watching. I'm just pushing the tart shell into the pan. I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's all done. I have nice clean hands when I'm doing this, and it's a little bit crumbly, a little bit like I guess it's a little bit like the texture of Play-Doh, and you just want to get it all in, all the way up the sides, and evenly distributed throughout the bottom of your tart. My cauliflower is in the oven already roasting, and it's probably close to done. As soon as I put this tart shell, I'm going to put it into the oven for like 10 or 12 minutes. I think that's what I said in the recipe. Yeah, it was like 10 minutes. That's the only real cooking part. We're going to do a little something on the stove top over there, but okay. So that's that. Where did my thing go? Where's my fork? There's my fork. Okay. So let me just show you. This is my tart pan, pressed all in there. Now I'm just going to go around and I'm going to do little pokes throughout the whole thing. And it might puff up a little bit, but that's okay when I take it out. After I cook it, it'll just settle down as it cools before we put the chocolate stuff in. Okay, so before I put that in the oven, I'm going to take out the cauliflower because that's pretty much done, and then I can show you what that looks like. Okay, let me turn you this way a little bit. Hello. See, this is what I was going for. Can you see this? God, I hope I don't drop this. So there's my roasted cauliflower. I'm just going to let that sit there and cool. You can even do that like a day in advance because you don't need it to be warm when you assemble the cauliflower bake, because you're going to bake the cauliflower casserole for like 20 or 30 minutes. So there is my cauliflower. I am going to put my tart shell into the oven for, what did I say, 10 to 15 minutes. I'll put it in for 10 and then I'll check on it. Now, here's the cool thing about, I'm going to turn you this way now because we are going to just do a little bit of work on the stove top. There we go. Okay. The recipe calls for pre-made chocolate chips. Now, these are stevia sweetened, and they are fairly low carb, but they don't have any sugar in them. They have stevia and I think it's erythritol. But funny enough, this has been the only game in town. And Lily's, sorry, upside down. Lily's, I love them, and they have great products. But the joke around the community is that Lily's is the most expensive thing on the block. Like one of these is like $8. So it's a little bit more expensive than just your regular Toll House chocolate chips. However, I think I mentioned this last week, there is a new game in town, Lakanto, who, you know, I use their sweetener. Ow, I just burned myself. Lecanto just came out with some chocolate chips also, and these are also stevia sweetened, slightly lower carb. And so anyways, this is another one that we're actually going to use a little bit. So we are going to, first thing we're going to do is we are going to, can you see this? Yes. We are going to heat up 1 1/4 cups of heavy cream. You know how I love my heavy cream. We'll put that in there. I like heavy cream. I buy in those big things. You can't really get those big things at too many supermarkets, but I like to buy big quantities of them because they actually last pretty long. So that expiration date is like November 1st. So I will blow through that. There's things that I'll put it in coffee. I will make ice cream with it. I'll, make this with it. So we are going to heat up our cream. I am going to take this cauliflower and just get it out of the way for now. We're going to heat up the cream and let that go. And we're going to use 1 cup of these. So when I started doing this, I was like, oh, you're going to use 6 ounces. Like, I have a scale in my kitchen that I use all the time, but not many people have a scale. So we're just going to use a cup of my lilies. Okay, so I'm going to get those ready. I'm going to turn that down because I don't want my cream to scald. But my trusty whisk, not a difficult recipe, you guys. You can put on top, I like to put on top slivered almonds that I already toasted. And I just put these on a dry cookie sheet, 350 in the oven for like 5 minutes. Now, you gotta watch these puppies because they will burn fast. So I made more than I needed. You could also do toasted coconut because coconut and chocolate, that would be fantastic. But we're going to make the almonds. Not everybody loves coconut. I imagine that you could probably make this dairy-free with coconut milk or coconut cream probably would be my choice. So we're just going to heat that up. We want it to come to a slow simmer. Then what are we doing? Oh, so here's the other thing is that in the filling, the chocolate filling, we're going to add a little bit of sweetener. This sweetener, the sugar alcohols, when they cool, they start to recrystallize. So if you don't grind it, which is, I'm going to show you how we do, if you don't grind it, then when you take a bite after it's chilled, it has a little crunch to it. Now, I actually like the crunch, and I think I've given it to people and they actually like the crunch. But if you don't want the crunch, and I don't want it for this chocolate tart because I want it to be velvety smooth, we are going to grind our Lecanto. It's just 1/4 cup. We're going to grind it in my coffee grinder. So let me show you how we do that. So I don't grind my own coffee beans. Like, forget that. I'm all about the Keurig. Occasionally I'll do the French press, but I've always had this coffee grinder, and I suppose you could use it for herbs too, but I use it almost exclusively for grinding my my erythritol and my sweeteners. And so we are just going to grind 1/4 cup of the Lecanto. Can you see? So the Lecanto is, see how it's a little bit granular, just like real sugar. But we're going to put it in here in the coffee grinder. And here's the thing. You can buy it already powdered. I just don't. You can't find it powdered too easily in the supermarket, so you really have to buy it online. So, which I do buy a lot of my stuff online anyways, but we're just going to grind that pretty easily. Not bad. My cream is nice and heated. I'm going to take my chocolate chips and I'm just going to pour them right into the cream and I'm going to cover them. I'm just going to let them sit there and melt in the hot cream. See? Can you see that? It's a nice powder. I'm going to pour my powder, 1/4 cup of Lakanto. I'm going to pour that right inside my chocolate chips and my cream. Get that out of the way. Our crust is looking gorgeous. Okay, so this is fantastic. Let's see if I can, okay, I'm not going to drop this, I promise. But I'm going to start whisking this. See, if I had a whole camera crew, they could be like top down. They could show you everything. We're getting there. Don't worry. Someday we will have a whole camera crew here. So I'm just going to whisk the chocolate chips. They're starting to melt really nicely. We're going to mix those in there and stir that up. And it's starting to really thicken. Can you see? I hope you can see that. Anyways, so that is starting to thicken. It's a beautiful dark chocolate brown, and it's really, really smooth and velvety. And we're just going to put this off to the side because we want it to cool down a little bit. And our crust, it's going to come out of the oven in like 5 minutes, but then I'm going to pop it into the fridge and I'm going to cool it down really fast. Now, in a perfect world, I would just take my time making this and I would make that and I would set it aside and then I would go off and do something else and then I would make this. But I'm trying to get all this in record time here. So there's that. We're going to let that sit there for a little bit. We're going to get this out of the way. That's going to need another minute or two. All right, the next thing that we're going to get busy on is the mixture for the buffalo chicken. And I like to make things that, for the most part, you already have these things in your cupboards. So if you like buffalo wings, this is one of my favorites. Frank's Buffalo Hot. The carb count is 0. I don't, I need my glasses. All of the ingredients are, I'm sure you can make this, from scratch, but I'm not going to do that. So we are going to take, where's my stuff? Oh, I think I left it. Did I leave it in here? No. Where's my cream cheese? Let's see. Here is my cream cheese. I couldn't find it. It was under there. So I took 1.5 blocks of cream cheese and I just popped that in the microwave just to get it going, to sort of soften it up, because I'm going to mix this together with my Frank's Red Hot. And again, not my #1 choice, but everybody has this and you can certainly make your own. Oh, wait a second. There's my crust. You can make your own ranch dressing, but if this is all you have, then this is what you're going to use. Okay, so let me get my crust. Let me check on it. Okay, I think it needs like a few more minutes. So we're just going to let it go for a little bit. Yes, that looks gorgeous. Here it is. Okay, cream cheese. We're going to add buffalo wing sauce, scallions, ranch dressing. Let's see. We will do, where's my thing? 1/2 cup of Frank's Red Hot. I think that the cheese and the ranch dressing really cuts down on it being too spicy. And some people are a little bit worried that it's too spicy, but because you're putting, you know, the cheese and the ranch and the whatever. So you're gonna do a half a cup of the buffalo wing sauce. Get any brand you like, but just watch the carb count. And then a half a cup of the ranch dressing. I'm going to throw in a quarter of a cup of green chilies. I like those. This is actually a half a cup, but I'm only going to use half of this, and I'll use the other half for something else. Let me just drain that a little bit. You don't want to get all the water in there, so just drain those green chilies. And I would go for the mild ones. Be careful when you're at the supermarket because sometimes they, one time I grabbed jalapenos and they were the hot version. And you can see, like, look at this little thing on the side here. So one time I grabbed the hot version. I just, like, they all look the same, but it was jalapenos and it was like in the red zone. And when we were eating dinner, I was like, oh my God, what is this? And then I realized what I had done. And yeah, so that was not good. Okay, so we're gonna do, that was about a quarter of a cup. So we'll get that out of the way. And we are going to add, where is it? Here are my scallions. You add about a quarter of, you can add about a quarter of a cup in the mix here. I'm gonna save half and sprinkle them on top for a nice, you know, sort of garnish look. You don't have to be fancy with this at all, but they add a nice color to the top because it's kind of a bland looking dinner when you just have the stuff on the cauliflower bake. Let me check. Oh yeah, this looks good. We're gonna take this out. I'm going to pop it right into the fridge, so it's going to cool, and then we will put that chocolate. Looks amazing. Okay, here we go. Let me show you what this looks like. Oh God, I hope I don't drop this. Oh, look at my crust. That was so easy. It's just so incredibly easy. So I am going to, oh geez. Let me just put this down for a second. Get those out of the way. I already put a little thing in the fridge and I made some room for this. I'm going to put my crust in here just until we get the cauliflower bake into the oven. And then once the cauliflower bake is in the oven, the buffalo chicken thing is in the oven, then I'll take that out and I'm going to put this in. This is cooling down nicely, getting nice and thick. The thing that I love about this chocolate dessert is that you can make this and then you can leave it in your fridge. You can even put it in your freezer if you want and then pull it out to thaw for, you know, like a dinner party. And it's so rich. You only need like a little slice that is wonderful with like a dollop of whipped cream or whatever. Okay, so I'm going to chop up these doodads. What else is going on? And I like to, you see how these are round? I like to slice them down the center. So that kind of cuts down on my chopping time. And I don't really like to have big chunks of onions in my stuff. So I'll just chop these babies up. The other thing I've been kind of working on, you guys, is that I wrote that fasting workbook, which is for sale on Amazon. And I just love that it's like this, I don't know, it's just like I just get to check in every day with my fasting. And I'm going to show it to you in a second. So I have way more onions here than I need. I'm going to guess this is about a cup. So I'm not going to actually use all these, but what I'm going to do is I'll get a Ziploc bag and I will save the rest of those and I will add that to my to our salads tomorrow for lunch. So, okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put, that's about a quarter of a cup. I'll put those in there. And then I'm going to save just a little bit for the top. we're going to chop up the chicken. Now, I told you guys I made my rotisserie chicken. Actually, I think I made it this morning before I went to work. I was up early. I got it in there. I know, I'm a crazy lady. But I wanted to have it ready. Otherwise, if you don't have rotisserie chicken, if you don't make a rotisserie chicken, you guys just go to the store and get a store-bought rotisserie chicken. There is zero judgment for me. It is so easy to do. You know, when I got started eating this way, I had to think about ways that I could make this sustainable and doable. So I would buy rotisserie chicken at least once a week when I was at the supermarket, or, you know, the Costco chicken is $5. Again, not my favorite choice, but if it's going to help you, like, why not? So, do you see that? I have my cream cheese. I have, hi, Heidi. I have my cream cheese. I have got my buffalo sauce. I've got my ranch dressing. I've got my scallions. I've got my chilies. And I am just going to mix all of that together. I know that this looks, it makes it so much easier when your cream cheese is nice and soft, which I put mine in the microwave, made it nice and soft. And I'm going to get this mixed all together, and it's going to be beauteous. And then we're going to put half of, so the recipe calls for a cup of shredded cheese. I wish you were my neighbor too, Heidi. I have so much food, and I wish people would come over. I actually offered this chocolate tart and my chocolate zucchini muffins, and nobody ever takes me up on it. I have so much extra food. I'm like, please take it. So if anybody is ever in town or close by, please let me know, because I'm always looking for taste testers. Last night I made some chocolate zucchini muffins, and they are really, really good and super easy. If you saw my Instagram today, which is the Kellie Kitchen Instagram, if you saw that today, the chocolate is one of the hardest things ever to photograph. And I think I got a really great picture. So I'm very excited about that. Okay, so what do I have going here? Okay, that's cooling. That's cooling. Here is my rotisserie chicken. So I made this morning. That's what my rotisserie chicken looks like after I pull it out of my Instant Pot. I'll do it again sometime for you guys that didn't see, or if you want to see one of my very first episodes, I make the rotisserie chicken. And I do this rotisserie chicken at least once a week, because if I don't make chicken salad, I use it for soups and casseroles. So I took some of this chicken and I saved it in the fridge for later, because I'm going to make some chicken salad to have for later in the week. But I think I made 4 or 5 pounds of chicken that had the bones and the skin and all that sort of stuff. So I pulled all the bones off, and I pulled all the skin off and the cartilage off, and this is what I was left with. So I'm going to chop this up. Or actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to shred it. Can you see how I'm shredding this? I think shredded might make for a better consistency in my casserole dish. So I'll just shred all this super easy. We already know that my hands are clean because I washed them. And once I have all of this chicken shredded, then I'm going to take my buffalo wing sauce. I still have to add a little bit of cheese, the shredded cheese, to the buffalo wing mixture that I have right there. I'm going to put half of the cheese in there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix that buffalo wing sauce into this shredded chicken. And then we're going to put the cauliflower in the bottom of the casserole dish, and we will cover all of that. Okay, easy peasy. Check out my shredded rotisserie chicken. I get this at a fraction of the cost, because nobody ever wants to buy chicken with the bones and the skin on it, because everybody buys boneless, skinless chicken breasts, which have zero flavor. When you cook it with the bone in it, add generous amounts of salt, and cook it with the skin on, it adds so much flavor, you guys. It's unbelievable. Okay, so let me just wash my hands real quick, because that got kind of messy. We're also going to have a lemon arugula salad. And that's kind of one of those dump ones that I love to do. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to add a little bit of, I'm going to add the cheese after. So you're going to pour your buffalo wing sauce. Kids love this, by the way. And you put this right over the cauliflower, and they don't even know that they're eating cauliflower. That's the other thing that I love about my chocolate zucchini muffins is that they're filled with zucchini, and they can't even tell because they have they're dark chocolate, and nobody can even see that. So, any way that I can get some vegetables in those little kitties is good for me. Okay, that's good. Get this out of the way, get this out of the way, this out of the way. You guys, we are cooking with gas here. This is amazing. Okay, let me get my spoon. We're going to do a half a cup of the cheddar in here, and then we're going to put half a cup right on top of the cauliflower when we get the cauliflower into the casserole dish. Where is my cup thing? Here we go. Okay, so half a cup now. Wait, first let me mix this up a little bit. So you want to coat the chicken generously and get it nice and coated. This is fantastic. So I got some good news today. You guys all know, or you might not know, that my daughter goes to UCLA. Go Bruins! It's her first semester there, and I don't know what she was thinking, but she signed up to take elementary Dutch. I was telling my friend, like, yeah, she wants to take Dutch. And we were laughing because we were like, the Dutch people don't even speak Dutch. Their first language is probably English. But I got new, and I was just like, just let her do it. Let her go take Dutch and get it out of her system. Her name is Holland, so she has this sort of Dutch thing going. And so I got the news today, because she just started school this week, that she dropped Dutch and she picked up the history of finance. So she's studying finance from the 1790s to 1900, and it's just more up her alley because she's got a double major, gender studies and entrepreneurship. So I think the finance thing works out a little bit better. And if she ever goes to Holland and visits and goes to see her relatives in Holland, they're going to be speaking English to her. I can guarantee you that. Okay, our chicken mixture with all of our cheese is fully combined. Okay, let me show you what this looks like. Woohoo! Isn't that pretty? It doesn't actually, it looks better in person. It smells amazing. Okay, I've got my casserole dish. This is probably a little bit smaller than a 9x11, but a 9x11 would work fine. You can line this with parchment paper or foil, but I am not going to do that. I am just going to spray it with a little bit of my spray. Now, I think I remember I showed you guys this. This is my misto. It has I think the pump fell, but it has this pump that you pump the air into it, and then it's like all natural. I fill it with olive oil. You can fill it with coconut oil. You can fill it with whatever you want, but I love that. So now my cauliflower, which I roasted, I'm going to pour that right into my casserole dish. Get this out of the way. I want to just make a note that don't be afraid of the dishes. They look a lot worse than they really are. They're really, really not that bad. Okay, so I've got my cauliflower. Check it out. There's my cauliflower inside my casserole dish. And then I'm going to take my buffalo chicken stuff. I'm going to put that right on top. And I'm going to smooth it nice and smooth. And then I'm going to cover it with a little bit of sprinkled cheese. And I'm going to press it down so that the buffalo the buffalo mixture gets pressed down into, and it will, as it bakes for 30 minutes, you guys aren't going to be able to see the finished product because it's going to take too long. But when the cheese melts down over the cauliflower, it coats the cauliflower, and then when you take a scoop to serve it to somebody, it is just a beautiful family casserole. And everyone that I've ever served this to, all different kids, they all, you know, I even have friends that say that they're never going to eat cauliflower, and they eat this because they don't have no idea. But cauliflower is actually pretty benign, and it kind of takes on the flavor of what you make with it. So I had something kind of fun happen. You know, obviously I post my recipes and pictures all the time. Somebody that I don't even know who this woman is, but she made my lime cilantro carnitas in her Instant Pot, and her youngest child was like, those are award-winning tacos or pork, whatever, however she served them. And I just thought it just warms my heart, because that is why I do what I do and why I actually in front of the camera, because I want to be able to show you how easy it is to be able to feed your family, and you don't have to, you know, be all fancy about it. Okay, here is my buffalo chicken casserole. So now I'm going to take just a little bit more cheese. I know this sounds like a lot of cheese, but actually once it melts down into the cauliflower, it actually really, it coats the cauliflower nicely. We're going to serve this with a beautiful little lemon arugula salad, which I'm going to put together right after I finish doing the, let's do the lemon arugula salad first. Okay, so there's that I'm going to sprinkle God, this looks so fantastic. I'd get this in a restaurant for sure. And if anybody wants to come over for dinner, let me know. Okay, this is going to go, isn't that pretty? This is going to go into the oven for 30 minutes at 350, and it's going to come out like bubbly and hot and so delicious. I might pop it like maybe 2 or 3 minutes on broil, just to get the top nice and crusty and stuff, you know, like bubbly and brown. But that is going in. Well, God, that is so pretty. I'm quite proud of myself. Okay, so 30 minutes for the buffalo chicken cauliflower. This is going away. This is going away. This is going away. Now I'm going to quickly toss together, because I really think that the crust needs to cool just a little bit more. So we're going to put this all away. Wait a second. I wanted to show you. Remember I said I made the chocolate zucchini muffins? They're on the website, or not on the website, but they're on my Instagram right now. But look at how beautiful those are. Can you see those? There's that. See? Isn't that pretty? Those are mostly zucchini. And they're great. I don't know the carb count yet. I will let you know. Okay, so now we are going to do a very simple salad. I'm not going to make too much, but this is one of my favorite salads, because you just kind of dump a bunch of different things. The key ingredient here is the arugula. Arugula has like this great peppery flavor to it, and has a nice bite. I buy, you know, this is pre-washed. It's peppery, yummy, yummy, yummy arugula. And I'm only going to make a little bit of this because I don't know how much Piper's going to eat, and I don't want to waste it. That's probably good. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm all done. And then I also love to buy pre-shredded cabbage, a little red cabbage. I don't use a ton of this. And sometimes I just buy the whole cabbage and then I use my shredder. But when I find it already shredded, it just makes my life so much easier. So I'm just going to put, we'll just do, yeah, that looks pretty. Oh my gosh, you know what I forgot? I hope I have it. Do I have it? Well, it's not the end of the world because I know Piper won't eat it anyways. But normally in this, oh, I do have it. Yay! Artichoke hearts. So the acidity of the artichoke hearts is actually, it brings the mellowness of the Parmesan cheese and the avocado together, and it actually gives it a little bit of like bulk to the salad, so that you're not feeling like you're eating, you know, like a whole garden of lettuce. But I have my lovely LaCroix. I love these things. On the challenge, I have to drink regular water, and that's been kind of hard for me, but I do it anyways. Okay, so I'm just gonna drain these. I'm only gonna probably use 2 or 3 of these little artichoke hearts, and I will save the rest, and I'm gonna add them to salads tomorrow and the next day so that I never waste anything. Every single day I go into my fridge and I'm like, what needs to be used? How can we make this, that? I might even toss those into like an artichoke dip. And so let's do 4 of those. That's good. And then I'll just chop these up with my giant knife. And I'll add these 2, and they have a really nice tanginess. The other thing that I do with this salad is normally I make it with pine nuts. But pine nuts are ridiculously expensive. I mean, just ridiculous. It's like a crime, but I'm sure they're expensive for a reason. They're probably really hard to harvest or something. Okay, so I'm just gonna squeeze out. Do you see this? I don't want all that liquid in my salad because then my salad will get soggy, and I don't like that. And I don't think you would like that either. And I bet in the restaurant they do this also. I'm sure of it. So there is our artichoke hearts. We're going to add shaved Parmesan. You don't have to. It's kind of a little bit fancier. This Parmesan, it's like shaved. You don't have to use shaved. You can use shredded. I wouldn't use grated. Grated is like the powdery kind. But I like this. I think it adds sort of like a little bit of a fanciness. Whenever I have served this for a dinner party, I always get rave reviews for this salad, like hands down. Okay, let's get this stuff out of the way. Get my cabbage out of the way. So instead of using the pine nuts, I am using sunflower seeds. And I happen to like them when they're roasted and salted. Raw, I don't really like them that way. So this is what we're doing. And I think I'm going to add like, I don't know, 2 tablespoons. It just adds like a nice crunch. This is what I don't believe in having sad salads at all. I feel like they should have some oomph to them. Okay, let me just get this stuff out of the way. Get my chocolate chips out of the way. This is beautiful. And as soon as I'm done making the salad, we are going to pour this into the tart shell, and it's going to be so pretty. And I wish that you were going to be here for the finished product of that, but it takes about an hour to chill in the oven. Okay, so now we're going to add just a little bit of red onion, and you guys remember my absolute favorite tool. The least expensive thing in my entire kitchen is my little mini handheld mandolin, and I think Peter got this for like $12 or something like that. And I'm just going to do a couple of slices of this onion. Now, I want to show you something that I do to make it even easier to use the mandolin. Can you see how I sliced my onion? I did a little slice here, a little slice here, and a little slice here. So when I slice it on my mandolin, it's already going to be cut, and it won't be these long pieces. And that's just another little step that I do so I don't have to use my, be very careful when you're doing this because you do not want to slice your fingers. I think that's about a good amount. Get this out of the way. We're going to put this there. And now I'm going to put half of an avocado. That'll be a really nice mellow sort of flavor. It'll kind of bring it all together. Somebody asked me today what kind of salad dressing I like to use. I have a bazillion recipes for salad dressing. I hardly ever use salad dressing. I don't know if it's because my palate has changed or I just really like the flavor of the things that I'm eating. But I feel like if I add salt and pepper to whatever it is that I'm serving, it kind of pulls it all together and then I can taste the flavors. Okay, so I'm just going to add, we have about 5 or 10 more minutes. I'm going to just add a half of an avocado. Super easy. Be careful when you're doing this. Just get the pit out like that. I leave the pit on here because I'm wheeling and dealing and trying to get dinner on the table. And we're going to put this in here. After we put this in here, I'm going to sprinkle this with salt and pepper, drizzle it with some olive oil, and then I'm going to take half of a lemon and just squeeze it right on top of it. And that is my lemon arugula salad. Although I'm not going to do the lemon right this second because we're not actually going to eat right this second. So I'll put that there. I'll do the lemon in a little bit. But first I want to, let's get this out of the way, this out of the way. And we're going to, okay, so let me just show you the salad. Isn't that pretty? It's really, really, really good. Just salt and pepper and all of those flavors with the lemon and the cheese and all that sort of stuff. Okay, let's do this. This is gorgeous. My tart shell is perfectly chilled. See my tart shell? Isn't that nice? Okay, so I'm going to put that right there. I'm going to grab this. I am done with my whisk. I'm gonna put that right there. This is so easy. So then you just pour your chocolate mixture right on top of your shell. And last time I made this, I put the almonds on a little bit later, but I think I'm going to put the almonds on now because they'll kind of sink into the shell. Oh my God, this looks so pretty. Now it's super wet and runny right now, but as soon as I get this into the fridge, this is going to set and get nice and hard. And whoo, it's the ghost of San Lorenzo. Okay, so there is my chocolate tart. Don't worry, I'm going to show you what it looks like. I hope to God I don't drop it. I already toasted my slivered almonds. Those take 5-7 minutes. Again, do not leave them because they will burn. And you can toast coconut. I think that actually would be pretty good. So I'm just going to, very pretty, like this is the creative stuff. We'll put that right over that. This, I already made this on Sunday. I've already tasted it. I don't need to taste it again. I'm on the whole life challenge. So I'm trying not to eat these things. So if anybody is local and you would like to try this, please let me know and I will get a sample to you. Okay, I am going to show you what this looks like, but I have to be very careful because I don't want to drop this. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to put it on this little cookie sheet here. And I'll show you this way. guys see that? Doesn't that look pretty? Can you see? So good. Okay, this is going to go in the fridge for about an hour, but I can, it'll go there overnight. I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's finished. That's in there. Okay. This is what this looks like when it's finished. How cute is that? So, so good. It got rave reviews, and again, if you are local and you would like to try some, please let me know. I need some eaters. I need some testers. You guys, we are all done. Our buffalo chicken is not going to be done for another 20 minutes. You guys don't want to stay for that. I will take a picture of it. I have to get a pretty picture of it for the website. Our salad is done. Our chocolate almond tart is done. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been a ton of fun for me, and I love checking in with you guys and sharing stuff. If you have any questions or you have any requests, please let me know, because I'm always looking for wonderful ideas. It is the fall season, so I've got zucchini. We're at the end of the tomato season. Obviously pumpkin spice has been sort of crazy. My last couple weeks were pumpkin. I'm getting into gingerbread. I just made a frosted gingerbread that was really good. I'm kind of perfecting that recipe. So stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of soups coming up in the fall, and I'm working hard on the cookbook. It's getting close for me to be able to give you more details on that. But again, thanks for joining me in the Kellie Kitchen for food, health, and fun. And I will see you next week. Bye. End stream. Yes, and bye.